Rosh Hashanah Daf Chavav, how's everybody doing? Brand new Mishnah, says the Mishnah, all shofars are kosher for Rosh Hashanah besides that of a bull. And there's three reasons in the Gemara. Number one is because it's called a keren, a horn, and not a shofar. Second one is because in kategar nasa sanegar, the accused cannot be the one that's defending, and we're referring to the chet. And since the shofar is there to bring up the tefillos, it's as if it's inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and that's a problem for Sanegar Nasa Kategar. And the other reason is because the way the bull's shofar looks, it looks like it's many shofars. Every year it grows another part, and you're not allowed to have more than one shofar. Rabbi Yossi says that the shofar of a bull is kosher because, in fact, it is called a shofar in the Torah because the Torah says shar par, a bull and an ox, and together it's read shofar. And Chacham say no, that's a reference. The Melech is saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should accept his tefillas like Adam Rishon's very first carbon, which was a large bull, shar par. And the fact is that it's not brought inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and therefore it's not a problem. The whole problem of Chet HaEgel, of reminding HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Chet HaEgel, is something that's brought into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And then he says the only thing that would be usher is when a human being, the Kohen Gadol, wears gold, and it reminds HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but if he's just holding gold, he's holding the Machta or the Aron, that doesn't remind HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, of the Chet HaEgel. Since the shofar of the par is all connected, all these different years are one, so the Rabbi says it's kosher. And now the Gemara goes through sort of a dictionary. The word yovel means a zachar. Galmuda means nida. Mea is ksita. Kira means mechira, to sell something. Ninfi is referring to a kala. Sechvi, like we say every day, is referring to a rooster. Tuchais, smooth, is referring to kloyos, the kidneys. Kvan equals a gazlan. And in fact, the Gemara says, if somebody comes over to you and says kvan, if you want to know any word, you just say how, with what, and why, and you can figure it out. But in this case, when somebody called the Amora a kvan, he didn't ask him these questions. He thought that he was referring to Gilei Arayos. The word sirugin means piskate, to go in one after another, do something one after another. Chlagloiglois is parpechina, which means purslane in English. Salsala means to flip over, like silsal b'sayers, to play with one's hair. Tatisiha is a broom, like in Hebrew they say matateh. Yahavcha equals a camel. Says the Mishnah, the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, according to the Tanna Kama, comes from a wild goat, which is straight. And the same thing would apply to Yom Kippur on Yovel every 50 years, because there's a Gzer Shava between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah for the tkiyas, how many tkiyas to do and how many brachas to say. But in a tainas, it should be bent. According to Rabbi Yehuda, on Rosh Hashanah, it needs to be bent, but on Yovel it's pashut, because in Yovel it's just a siman, and we don't need, it's not to bring up tefillos or anything. And he doesn't hold it as Gzer Shava. But in tainas, the shofar should be bent. And Rabbi Levi says, no, your Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are both bent. Why? Because Rosh Hashanah holds like Rabbi Yehuda, and in Yovel, there's a Gzer Shava from Yovel to Rosh Hashanah. But at Tainas, it should be straight, the opposite of everybody else. In Rosh Hashanah, the shofar is in the middle, and on the sides you have two trumpets, and the sound of the shofar goes longer than the sound of the trumpets, because that's the mitzvah of the day. But in a Tainas, the Chatzaitras are in the middle. Have a wonderful day.